So what is the goal of the XHTML? When we talk about the XHTML goal, so they have given the certain rules or parameter, you can say, or a structure, you can say. So they are following it strictly. So the rule, whatever they made, that will be rendered in your application. So whatever the web pages you are making, so if you follow the rule, you will not get any error. Otherwise, it will give you the some error, that is syntax error, and you will be not able to get the result into your web browser. So that's why they defined the certain rules that to be defined on the web page. So whenever you add that, it should be displayed on your web page without any syntax error. So your XML based syntax rule for HTML are pretty easy as follows. So whatever I'm just explaining you all here. So the main rule are, the first one, your XHTML rule, the lowercase tag names. So you are going to use mostly lowercase. So you have seen in programming, some in Java, you have seen that some places you have used case sensitive, like lowercase, somewhere you have used upper cases, right? So here all the syntax, even if you write capital letter, it's not going to be a problem. But the best practice, the standard practice is that the industry what follow, that always they follow as a lowercase tags. So whatever the tag name you are going to define, you have to define in the lowercase. Then attribute. So whenever you want to define any attribute, that will be within the course. So we'll see with the example, then you will understand more how the attributes will be defined. Okay. So these are the basic things you should know before jumping to HTML and CSS or JavaScript or jQuery or PHP. Okay. So first lowercase, second attribute, that will be within code. And the third is all the elements, whatever you are using, must have a closing element. So how in any programming C, C++ you use opening brace and closing brace, similar way you will be having here a closing element. So most of the element will be having closing except few. So this closing element in another way you can say as it is the standalone content, a standalone or container tag, actually it is called as. So standalone, that means that those tags will be not having any closing tag. Okay, like I'll give you one example. Like if you are, hope probably you have used or you have seen image tag. So if I want to use image tag into any HTML, so what you are writing, you will be writing img, okay, src is equal to, and then you are giving the path, and if you want height and width you can define, and just that's all. So this is, you can see here we are not using here as a closing tag for the image. This we are not going to use in the image tag. This will be not used. So there is no closing elements. The same place if you are using any paragraph. So if I want to write the paragraph, then paragraph will be like this, and it should be closed. It must, you have to use a close element tag. So what is that close element tag? Just use like this way. So this is the correct. But for image there is no closing tag. So this kind of tag does not having any closing tag. So it is called as a standalone tag. And when you see that any tag which is having the closing tag, that is called as container tag. So these are the two types of tag in HTML or XHTML we define. The next. So when XHTML we are using, so actually it is help for the web authors. So the web authors, who will be the web author? When you talk about the web authors, so who are the web authors? So web author, nothing, is a web developer. Okay, so who are developing the web pages. Okay, so for helping them, there are two versions of XHTML. So there was two versions of XHTML created. Okay, so what are those two versions? So one is XHTML 1.0 strict, and another is called as your XHTML 1.0 transitional. Okay, So there are two types of your XHTML. What is the strict? Why we have used here strict? Okay. So in the previous presentation also I have said, right, the strict version was meant to be rendered by a web browser using a strict syntax rule and tag which is described by the W3C. Okay, so that means it is the strict specification will be there. So whatever the rule has been given by W3C, that means you are going to use that only. So those types of XHTML will be considered under the category of XHTML 1.0 strict. And when we talk about the XHTML 1.0 transitional, that means that recommendation is that more forgiving flavor of XHTML and was meant of act of temporary transition to the eventual global adoption of XHTML. So what happened, due to certain these strict rules, people even they have felt like it's little difficult. So what happened, they have come with the a transition where you can use whatever the XHTML you want, the way you want to represent, and then further they started they're adding many number of temporary transition and it reflected into the XHTML strict, and you can use it.